welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to the AS&MT Investigates. I guess we can say podcast or just channel in general. So Joe is not with me today. Yeah, that's right. I called him. I told him we're doing Brandon Lawson. He told me he just hung up the phone. He didn't want to hear me talk, so that's what happened. I'm kidding, yeah. So, Joe's not here. He couldn't do it today. So we're doing a solo deep dive. And maybe he'll be back next episode. We'll see. But we're doing Brandon Lawson today. Not to be confused with Brandon Swanson. Those cases get confused more than you think, and they sound so similar. And this case kind of parallels the Brandon Swanson in so many eerie ways. So, I could see the confusion. But, yeah. Also, I'm outside right now because, it's a beautiful day out where I live. So, yeah, of course, I'm going to be, outside. So, with that being said, let's get into it. Now, you're also going to hear, things in the background, probably birds chirping and other stuff like that. So, just be mindful I am outside if you're wondering what the hell is happening all around me. If you hear stuff like cars in the distance, just stuff like that. So, at the time of making this video, I'm not sure if my Truce Richardson is up. I'm trying to get that up, but it's giving me some issues. So if this serves as our episode 2, that might happen where if certain ones aren't posting or they're just having trouble posting, I might just I might swap the order of the episodes. Instead of saying my Truce's number, episode 2, I might make her, episode 3. But the ones you guys vote on AS&MT polls, those are the ones I'm going to do. So go subscribe to AS&MT, guys, vote. So you guys can tell me what cases you want to see, want me to cover. And I think I did the poll, and people want paranormal, which is going to go very good with my next case, which is the Jameson family, which I'm very excited to cover. And I wanted to give you guys, before we start the Brandon Lawson, just because it's just me and you guys today, just to talk about what's going to happen with, so summer's obviously coming up and all that. Basically, what's gonna happen is I'm gonna try to make a schedule for the summer, because the summer I'm totally free, and that's probably gonna be more posting. Whereas right now my life is pretty busy, so yeah, I'm gonna try to make a schedule, I should say, for myself for the summer, for July, August, and in between. And I think, I'm gonna just try to make a schedule for myself. So there's gonna be posting on this channel a lot, probably, and I'll be covering all the cases I could. So be excited. And if you guys have a case you want me to do, drop it down in the comments below, or just vote on the poll. And just subscribe to AS&MT, even if you're not into movies, which is what I cover on that channel. Still subscribe so you can be inactive with those polls. You can be active with those polls, and you can just vote on what you want to see. Finally, I wanted to say is the cases in general. I'm gonna try to cover them, and this is a podcast type. So to watch these videos, I suggest you guys get some earbuds or something, plug your ears, do whatever the hell you want to do with your life, and listen to this. And that's it. These videos, I'm gonna start styling them to more so just as one screen going on, and then you guys just listen. It's kind of like a podcast type channel. So without further ado, we're gonna get into Brandon Lawson in just a sec. Checking my. Yeah, I think that was a truck that went by. I don't know what is happening down where I'm looking. What the hell? All right, I'm gonna also we have to get to a crazy point for Kirsten to start. So I'm holding myself back today. I know we promised that, and with my Truce Richardson, when that video comes up, you'll know what I'm talking about. But yeah. Also, again, let me know in the comments what you guys want to see next. And that was a motorcycle that just went off. That was very loud. I don't know where that came from. Okay, anyway. I sound stupid. I want to get into this case now. of Brandon Lawson. So, first off, I should say this parallels, like I said before, this parallels to Brandon Swanson in very creepy ways. So, this is Brandon Lawson. I'm not covering like the same person again. Swanson was my first episode. That is up, so go watch Brandon Swanson. Great episode about a great person, about who was a great person. Like, go watch that episode, and go and yeah. I do want to say one last thing before I start. It does kind of break my heart to read about cases that involve, especially people with families or just like a tight group of support and people that come from such a good family, like such a good family ground, which is what sounds like Brandon came from. Both Brandons, Brandon Lawson and Brandon Swanson. Especially with Brandon Swanson, that broke my heart because, he was such a good kid, such loving parents. Like, he was a prime person everyone wanted to be around. It's always the greatest people that this kind of stuff happens to, which is so sad. And with Brandon Lawson today, we're going to explore that. So without further ado, I think I've dragged this on long enough. Let's get into this. So, I'm going to give you a little bit of a deep dive of just who was Brandon Lawson, himself, and then we're going to get into the case. So, actually, I don't know if do I want to give you guys a top line? I don't know. I think too many podcasts do a top line. I don't like to do that because I just want to get into the case. So it's surprising and just not spoil it. So, because I think, again, like, this is not the most well-known case. Brandon Swanson might be more well-known because it's just more eerier. Also, this does have audio, but I could not do the audio. I was trying to figure out how to do the Brandon Lawson 911 call. I don't know if I mentioned this also on the Brandon Swanson. I cannot see Brandon Swanson. I cannot look up pictures of him. I get creeped out. No, it's not, like, he doesn't look bad at anything. It's just, like, I look at him, I see, the story plays out in my head. I imagine a story. I just get chills, and, like, I get, like, this weird, like panic attack. It's such a weird, like, that happens every time I look at it. I don't know why. Maybe it's just because it creeps me out so much, that story, but because I was searching up Brandon Lawson phone call to do this, and then, like, to do this podcast, and then I look it up, and then, like, I see the next video below is Brandon Swan. I'm like, oh my god, and his face is plastered on the thumbnail. I'm like, I couldn't even look at it. I was like, my heart was racing. Like, it was such it was like almost like a form of anxiety. Not saying, again, not to defend, like, Brandon Swanson was a great person. I'm saying that. If anyone, like, if his parents ever see this, like, again, Brandon Swanson seemed like and probably was an awesome person. It's just, I think when you hear the story, though, because I think in general, whenever you hear a story, like any of these cases, and you get a picture of the person, I think when you see the picture of the person, like who we're talking about, it adds a different element that I really don't know how to explain. I think a lot of people have said this, but, like, there's so many, you hear about a case, and you try to imagine what you think the person looks like, and then when you see what they actually look like, it just adds this eerie element. Because you can imagine those people, like, now you know what they look like in the story, and you're like, oh, almost like you want to tell the person from the picture you're looking at, almost like you can tell, like, you want to tell the person, this is going to happen, watch out, it's just that kind of feeling. Anyway, alright, I think I drive this on for way too long now. Let's get into, Brandon Lawson. So, I'm going to give you guys a little backstory on just who was Brandon Lawson. So, Brandon Lawson was a 26-year-old, I can't pronounce anything. San Angelo, I think it's San Angelo, Texas, native. So, and if you don't know what a native is, because some people, like, I think somebody that told me in person, they saw my Brandon, Swanson video, said they don't know what a native is. Like, is it like somebody thought he was like, oh, is he like a part of like a college? Like, no, that's not what it. No, a native. I think it's pretty self-explanatory. But if you don't know what a native is, pretty much somebody who, like a citizen almost. I think I said that in the video, like a citizen, like a native, like somebody who lives in he lives in San Angelo. That's just what it means. Like, I'm a native. You're a native of the place you live. I'm a native of the place I live. Like, something like that. So he was a San Angelo native. He had a wife named Ladessa. That was his car. I think that's gonna happen all video. I bet when I talk about the actual night, I'm gonna hear a truck all in the background. I meant like because trucks do get involved in this case. It'll be the most ironic thing if I hear a truck in the background, I talk about the trucks in this case. That's gonna be, ooh, okay. So anyway, Ledessa, he has a wife named Ledessa, and they had a 10-year marriage since high school, since they were 16. So 10 years from 16 all the way to 26, which is how old when Brandon, I almost made a mistake. Oh my God, I'm gonna make that mistake today. Brandon Swanson to that's how old Brandon Lawson was when he disappeared, 26 years old. So he was awfully, I don't want to say young, because I consider like 18 to 21 young adult, and then like older adult more so just 21, 22 and on kind of. Because just like if you're 18, you're most likely in college, but you're still in schooling. Whereas like, and some people might still be in high school when they're 18. Whereas like when you're 21, you're not only do you have more law, you can have more rights now, like with drinking and all that, but you also like you're not like confirmed to be in school and then really at 21. You graduate college, like you're kind of free then. So yeah, that's how I consider it. So he was older than Swanson was. I think Brandon Swanson was 19 and Brandon Lawson was 26. Again, these guys parallel each other, so I would mention them both a lot. Anyway, so they had a marriage, 10 years. They had a good relationship, and they had 4 kids together. One of them was a newborn at the time Brandon Lawson went missing. And however, though, unfortunately, and just to give you guys some back before you get into that, just to give you guys some other backstory into his life, he had 2 parents. Don't know their names. I couldn't find on the research, but I know his brother was named Kyle Lawson, who's going to come to play in the latter part of this case. He had a great relationship with his brother, and he loved the outdoors. He had a normal childhood, like a normal, happy childhood. Loved the outdoors, loved camping, stuff like that. Which is interesting when we get into this case. And, but he, unfortunately, though, as, like, he started to, he had his relationship with his wife and all that, he also started to fall victim to, drugs and alcohol, but mainly drugs. And I think he did have a history, or not criminal history, but I think he did have several accounts where he was arrested for, drug use and all that. So I want to keep that in mind, for that could be into the theories of this case, but yeah. And this is around the time where he started to have, like, fights with Ledessa. So him and Ledessa would go at it, like, they would fight, not, like, physically, but just, like, shouting at each other, like, they would fight. They had a lot of fights, about him, like, he, like, maybe, I'm not sure if I think one of them might have been, like, he wasn't going to rehab or something, like, again, Brandon had a drug issue. And, lastly, and I think this is very important, for this case as well, Brandon had, not really, maybe important, I don't know, he worked at an oil field, and I think another reason for why, maybe that led into the drugs is that because, maybe the main reason is that as they started to have kids at home and all this, responsibility, the hours of the oil field were being crazy high, like, they were becoming, like, crazy high, like, 60 hours, I think, like, it was crazy. No, not 60. 16 maybe? I don't remember the exact, but it was a lot. I think it was over, like, 16 hours a day? At the oil, like, there was an insane amount of hours. And overall, like, in a week, I think he'd work around, like, over 60 hours, like, a week. Like, he would go, like, he worked so much. So, yeah. That's really it before we get into the case. But, so what we established right now is that he had fights with his wife. He was falling victim to drug abuse, or just drugs. He had a crazy, really, like, a job that needed him there constantly. All this pressure, more so all this, like, just all the pressure to do drugs and all that. And this is kind of leading to a downward spiral, as you can see. And then it turns us to August 8th, 2013. And I say this with every case. I say this with both Swanson and Martrice Richardson. This is another case I was alive for. So, yeah. I was alive for this case, everyone. That's crazy. I was alive. So, 2013. I think I vividly remember 2013 very well, actually. I don't remember where I was on August 8th. I think I how old would I have been? I think I would have been, still, I would have been a kid. I think I was like, yeah, I'm not gonna like reveal exactly when I was born, but you guys can kind of tell. I'm not an adult, I'll leave it at that. I think you guys can tell. But, let's see, guys. I think I was like 7? So, I don't know. I honestly, I'm so brain dead today. I have no idea. Okay. So anyway, so August 8th, 2013. This is the late night of August 8th, 2013. So Brandon apparently had a fight with his wife, Odessa. Like, this became a usual thing, unfortunately. But tonight, they get into a really heated argument, like much more heated than usual, which causes Brandon to leave because he just couldn't stay the night because he just couldn't take it anymore. So he leaves, and he leaves around 11 p.m. And I'm not going to get into, like, blaming anyone. I don't want to blame the wife because Odessa, like, even today, she still grieves her children. It's not right to blame anyone for this. Which we're going to get into some pretty crappy stuff that happens. I'm waiting until we can swear. It's coming later. And by the way, I don't know how to. I'm not gonna throw F-bombs yet because I don't know how to bleep anything, and I don't want to risk that. So we're keeping this PG-13 anyway. But we're gonna be swearing a little more later. We have to hit a certain mark to do that. Anyway, you guys know this. Anyway, but yeah. So, leave his house. I think he leaves the house around. He says he leaves the house around 11 p.m. 11 p.m. that night. He leaves the house. In his, in his truck. And by the way, I don't want to, a lot of people in Texas have trucks. A lot of guys in Texas have trucks because hunting and, wherever you go, because trucks have the back where you can, store stuff. I think trucks are very convenient, by the way. Some people don't like trucks. I think trucks are great. They're great to have because, number one, they can go through a lot of terrain, but also because they could, they could store a lot on the back, and you can, have a lot of people on the back, which I don't think is illegal, but, anyway. You can carry a lot of stuff, so they're very convenient in Texas, because there's a lot of terrain, there's, desert, and there's a lot of terrain in Texas. Anyway, it is a very nice day out today, Honestly, guys, if you guys are outside today, go outside today, whenever you want, and go listen to these podcasts outside. It's great. Anyway, so he leaves the house around 11 p.m. and he then calls his dad to stay, at his house for the night. So he calls his dad, and, Brandon Lawson's, dad, Mr. Lawson, call him that. He says he agrees, and he's going to drive 3 hours to go stay at his dad's house. From San Angelo, Texas, he's going to drive 3 hours to where his dad lives to stay with him for the night. I don't know where his mother was in this case. They didn't mention his mother, but both parents are very grief-stricken as well as Odessa. And going back to that, I don't want to blame Odessa because some people have very, very terribly accused her of being the reason this all happened. We don't know what started the fight. We don't know. I mean, it's not right to blame her. I don't blame her at all. I think that, she is so, I feel so bad for her, losing a wife and having to, a husband and, having to take care of 4 kids, especially, at that age, that's just so sad. And I think 2 of his kids were, old enough to know about, what was going on, which is even sadder. And 2 kids might not even have memory of this. So that's just so sad. Anyway, so, moving on, he calls his dad to stay the night, and this is when, we're in August 9th now, so August 9th, 2013, because this goes overnight, kind of again, this is so weird because it parallels Brandon Swanson so much, another case of going overnight, and what's even eerier, this takes place in the summer part of the year, just kind of almost like Brandon Swanson. That took place in mid-May, which is, by the way, this is when we're coming up to I think in a week or so, we're coming up to the anniversary, the 15th anniversary of Brandon Swanson's disappearance, which I didn't even notice until today. Because today's May, and I think we're coming up to mid-May now, and, in May, it was warm, almost kind of like summer season, we're kind of entering the summer season, which is when Swanson disappeared. This happens in August. This is when Brandon Lawson disappeared. This happened both in, again, another parallel. Both happened in summer. So, That's crazy. Anyway, so, moving on. Around 12, we can say about around midnight, on August 9th, Brandon pulls his truck over on a highway in St. Angelo, Texas, or close to the border, I think, because he said he was on a 911 call later. We'll read it, the transcript. He said that he was on the border, close to another town in Texas, or another, part of Texas. So, yeah, he pulls his car over, though, and, that's when he decides to call his brother, Kyle Lawson. Kyle gets called, and Brandon asks him, Kyle, can you please, he asks him, can you go get me, can you pick up gas and pull on a highway? I can't in the dark. This is dark, guys. It's pitch black dark. It's 12 a.m. now. I think I wrote p.m. Did I write p.m.? I feel so stupid. This is 12 a.m., guys. We're in the morning now. August 9th. I don't know why I said p.m. That was so stupid. Anyway, so calls brother Kyle. Kyle then goes to Ledessa and Brandon's house. And I don't know if they had any interactions with Ledessa or Brandon. But I think the thing is, according to Kyle, they just, I don't think she wanted, I think she might have been mad at him at the time, that she probably didn't want to, talk. I don't think she wanted to, even think about what the fight they just had. So, I think, Kyle recalled having, a very, a mild interaction, and then he went to go get the gas canister. I don't think or maybe he just snuck in and just got it for him through the garage or something, got the gas canister, and then went to a gas station to go fill it with gas. And then for some unknown reason, I think between 12 a.m. and I think, we can say 12:30, around that time, 30 minutes, this 30-minute gap, maybe, I think it was around midnight he did pull the car over. We couldn't round up maybe to 12:20. A lot of conflicting reports about when this happened. I couldn't find an exact time, so I wouldn't say around midnight, but we can say around maybe the midnight to, maybe 12:30 in the morning. We can say maybe the car was pulled over somewhere around that time. Anyway, Kyle goes to pick up the gas, comes, and drives to a gas station. So, but then for some unknown reason, Brandon gets out of his car in the dark and starts sprinting off of the highway into the woods. Now, immediately, when I read that, by the way, I thought A should agree, which we're going to get into, by the way. That's another case we're going to cover. But I don't know why I just spoiled some of that case. Oh, God. We're going to get into A should agree. Well, we'll get into her another time, but that reminded me of that case, directly from that one. This case actually reminds me of a lot of people, which is, again, another eerie. As I go through these cases, guys, I'm going to reference back to others, because some of these cases I cover are, parallels. So, there's a lot of duo parallels, but this one's just creepier because these people have the same name and almost a same sister last name. So, anyway. So, it wasn't his name was Brian Parker. His name was, Brandon Lawson, same with Brandon Swanson. These two have, just sound so similar. It's kind of, and they have similar stories. It's so eerie. Speaking of Parker, that's another person. Another case we're gonna go into. Dylan Parker. Oh my God, I'm just bringing up everyone. All right, we have to get back on track here. Anyway, he gets out of his car, runs out of his car, runs off the highway into the woods or wherever he was, or desert, we can say, because that's where his car was found. And yeah, because if you want to describe the scenery, I think I have in the background of this video, this podcast, it's desert, and then it's woods off. He had to run a far length to get to those woods. So it's a deserty, woody, wood, foliage, bushy kind of type area. It's hard to describe, but I don't live in Texas, but yeah. Anyway, then he calls 911, and we're going to read that transcript of that call. And if you guys are asking, yes, there is a recording. That's why this case is made famous, because it does have a 911 recording. Hold on. Sorry about that. However, I couldn't get it because I was having problems loading it, and also because, again, like I told you before, it was just, I couldn't get it. I couldn't, anytime I looked it up, it always came, Brandon Swanson always came up, I couldn't record, I couldn't do it, so, and plus, but mainly also because I was having problems uploading, and it wouldn't, flow with this correctly, and it was, yeah, so I couldn't do it. It was mainly recording problems, but there were some other minor issues into it, too. Anyway, so I'm going to read you the transcript, though, because I have a transcript here of the call. And this is about, I would say, 1-for-1, almost, of what is said on the phone or what's believed to be said. So, I want to also give you guys a preference too. Brandon Lawson has a very, very, very heavy, and very heavy and thick Southern accent. So here, if you pull up the audio, like, this is more reliable, I would say, than the audio. I mean, the audio you can try, but it's very hard to understand because it sounds like and again, that goes into the theories that he could have been on something. Like, you don't know, because he sounds very weird and unsensible. Like, he's just like spamming like random stuff, like random nonsense in the phone. But this is what's believed to be said, and this is gonna kind of paint the picture. So there's a 911 call, and this basically, he's calling, and he claims, I'll just give you a little top headline to this call. He says that people are chasing him off the highway. So we're just gonna, that's just eerie to think about. 12 at night, in the dark, highway, don't think there's any lights except for your headlights. People chase him off the highway, into the woods, in the middle, like, that's just eerie. Anyway, so, here's the transcript. The operator goes 911 emergency. And I want to preference one thing. If you guys listen to this, it's going to say, before it says any of this, it's not going to cut to this immediately. It's going to say, like August 2013, something like that, like some little audio recording, little message before it goes to this call. But, yeah. So, anyway, I think there's, like, a tune that goes, like, din, 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 and then it says, like, 911, what's your emergency? That's the operator. And then Brandon says, yes, I'm in the middle of a field. If you can bring some guys over, my truck ran out of gas, and guys are chasing me through the woods, please hurry. And the operator's like, okay, run that by me one more time. Both have southern accents, I believe. And then Brandon's like, and you can hear a voice in the background say, get up, I think. Says get up, faintly in the background. So this could, like, beat the theory, like, okay, maybe Brandon, like, he wasn't alone, but whatever. Then he said, I tried talking to him, totally ran into him. And then the operator says, okay, you ran into him? Okay. Then Brandon, you can hear on the phone, there's a voice that says, protect yourself, and possibly a gun. Oh my God. This car. Sorry, that was. Anyway, on the voice, there's a voice that says, protect yourself, very faintly, you can hear it, and then possibly a gunshot? I don't know. I didn't hear anything, but I listened to the call, though. And then Brandon says, shot the first guy, I got shot, possibly says that. Then Brandon says, then you hear a shot in the background, I should say. You hear a shot in the background, another one. And then the operator's like, do you need an ambulance? And then Brandon's like, no, I need the cops. Operator's like, is there anyone hurt? And then there's silence on the other end. So the operator's like, hello? Hello? And then Brandon whispers, you can hear very faintly a whisper. He says, help me. He says, help me. Like, help me. In a whisper. It is, it took me a couple times to hear it. So eerie. And the call cuts. So. Let's transition here. That is eerie as hell, I think. That is, I think we're past a certain time. That is some crazy shit right there. That is insane. I think that if I was on the other end, I would definitely, I think that first off, I don't know why it took police so long to get here. And this is county police, I should have mentioned that at the beginning, so, eyebrow raise from everyone. But yeah, in the true crime community, county police are known for certain things. And with my Trace Richardson, that was proven. Like, county police they got thrown under that bus for my Trace Richardson. But yeah, anyway, that's another case, so, But yeah, if I were on the other end of that phone call, though, I would have been freaked out. So how this woman stayed so calm over this phone, I have no idea. But you listen to the call, it is chilling as hell. Because you have to picture the scenery, though. Dark, possibly people chase him through the woods with guns. And he's just, he's not making sense. And again, also, I couldn't if you're not from this, I don't think you can understand him. It's such a thick, some people have light southern accents. He had such a thick one, you couldn't understand him. Especially because he was just so frantic, he wasn't calm, yeah. So, anyway. You know what it reminded me of? This is not, a true crime case, but if you guys ever knew of the Mark Saylor incident, that's the guy who unfortunately crashed his car. It was just an incident, like, I think it was a good many years ago. I think this might have been, I'm not sure, I think it might have been the same year. Oh my god. I don't know if Mark Saylor was the same year the crash, that infamous crash happened the same year this happened. But, yeah, Mark Saylor, he also had a southern accent. But it was very easy to understand his accent more than this one. But again, you know, sometimes it's hard. You know, sometimes it is kind of hard to, you know, sometimes it's hard, you know, if you're not from the area, you're not going to really understand it. So, yeah, anyway, going back, though, to our case, so, you know, question, you know, what happens after that? Well, so, by 12, and the call happens, and they hang up, and then at 12:51 a.m., a random trucker, an anonymous trucker, spots, while going down the highway, Brandon Lawson, he spots his pickup truck, you know, parked, like, really, kind of, like, across the highway in, like, one lane, like, very, like, another way, I don't know how to describe it, it's, like, a very, like, hazard way to park a car, like, kind of halfway diagonal across the highway, and, of course, like, a big truck, when, like, a big truck, like, reports that, like, obviously, if you're blocking the highway, especially for a big car like this truck, like, that's a problem. So, he reports, I'm not sure, I think the trucker just passed along, but he did report that he saw a truck at 12:51. That would have been, I think, minutes. I don't know exactly when the call with the police, like, that recorded one happened, because they make several calls to police, but that's the one that's recorded, because that's the infamous one, because it has, like, the most evidence to what could have happened to him, possible evidence. I think that happens around, well, we can assume between, like, 12 to 30, you know, 12:30, like, we can say, you know, he could have, like, car got pulled over, got out of his car, ran into the woods, maybe around 12:45 is a safe bet. 12:45, that call was made. This is, like, minutes later than if it was 45, because this is at 51. This is called in and spotted by a trucker. I'm not sure if he passed it minutes before and then reported it after, but I'm going to assume this is as he passed the road. He called on the radio, called cops, like, in the car, and just reported this. But anyway, and this is 2013, so cell phones are a thing, you know, like, this is more modern, a little bit more modern, and this is very, very recent, so, yeah. Anyway, well, not the most recent, but it's a little more recent than a lot of these other ones, and the last two we covered were, older than this, so. I like how we're kind of also advancing. You know, Swanson was 2008, Patrice Richardson was 2009, this is 2013. Like, we're starting to kind of go up the years. And the next one, we're going back in time for Jameson's family. But anyway, so, around 1 p.m., oh my god, I almost did it again. 1 a.m., he calls, Brandon Lawson starts calling frantically, like, voicemails, like, the friends, dads, you know, his dad, Kyle, his brother, and even 911. Like, all these calls, they're not recorded, but all these calls, he starts, like, calling everyone. He just, like, starts, like, calling everyone frantically. I think my mic cut out, sorry about that. But he calls everyone very frantically, and all that. So, we arrived to 1:17 a.m., but yeah, so he calls all his family, you know, like we said, 1 a.m., 1:17 a.m., he makes a final call to his brother, Kyle, and this is the earliest part of the case right here. This is, like, over an hour after the 9, well, not an hour, but almost, like, near an hour after he stopped, and he ran into the woods, and all these things were happening. So, he says, I think here, like, his brother's, like, you know, like, well, first off, police do arrive along with him, so Kyle arrives, and the police arrive, and he also mentions, like, he calls them, I think he mentions also on the phone, somebody said too, like, a staper, which is southern slang for state trooper. Like, he mentioned, like, trying to stay away from them. Like, I'm not sure if that's something to play. Like, that was really, I don't know. This case is very confusing. But yeah, 1:17, he gets a call from his brother, and he puts on speaker. So the whole cops, and they're hearing the cars, they're just, he's talking to them. He puts them on speaker, and he's like, you know, Brandon, are you okay? Where are you? You know, he's like, where are you, Brandon? You know, we're looking for you. We're here. I don't see you anywhere. We need your truck. I put the gas, like, what's going on? And he's like, what do you mean? I can see you. I'm right here. They're looking around. They're like, we don't see you, Brandon. He's like, what are you talking about? I'm right here. I can see you. But Brandon, like, Kyle's looking around. He's like, where the hell are you? What is he talking about? He's looking around the car. I mean, he's looking around the woods. Like, he's looking everywhere. And probably police are starting to kind of search around the area as he's on the phone. And then he's like, Kyle's like, again, I don't see you, Brandon. He's like, I'm right here. And then sometime after that, he hangs up the phone. And all calls after that go straight to voicemail. Kyle is confused. Police are confused. This is the complete aftermath. Kyle is confused. Police are completely confused. They're like, what the hell just happened? And that's what Kyle's thinking. He's like, what the actual hell just happened to my brother? Because, like, what is he talking about? And that's where, like, maybe, like, he was on something. That's where, like, people can start to, like, say, maybe he was on something. Like, because why would you make an accusation like that? Anyway. So, where are we at? Well, and just to say before, like I think minutes before this, police do arrive, like, before Kyle gets a call. Kyle, like I said, Kyle arrives, police arrive, he gets the call, from Brandon. Just trying to see right here. But yeah, gets the call from Brandon, and all that. So, anyway, I'm sorry for that. Why are birds making sounds? Come on, I'm about to tell a story. Finish the story. Come on. Animals around me can wait. So, anyway, so, let's see what we got going on here. So, anyway, sorry for that mic cut, by the way. I think it was a mic cut. So, first off, before that, though, Kyle decides to leave. Police start to leave the scene since they can't find him. And Kyle opts to leave the gas because they're trying to call him. So everything's going to voicemail. Everyone tries to call him now. Going to voicemail. I think the message that he went, like, that he's gone, like, he's not answering phones, going around the entire family. Everyone's trying to call him. But Kyle opts to leave the gas canister near his truck. Just for, like, I think he comes out, like, before he leaves at, like, 2 a.m. Just to, like, leave it there. He goes back to his house. Sleeps for, like, 2 hours and comes back at around 5 a.m. to see if the gas canister is still there. The gas canister, he arrives, gas canister is still there. And, yep, it's still there. It was untouched. It wasn't even moved. He knew exactly where he put it, what position it was in. It was not even moved. So, yeah, and then at around that time, a couple minutes later, tow trucks arrive. They tow the car away, and Brandon was never seen or heard from again after that night. That is the entire case. But then, we thought that was the entire case until, done, last year happened. 2022, where a humongous break in the case ensued. 2022, they assembled search parties every single year from 2013 all the way until 2022, where 9 years later, they found the remains of Brandon Lawson, or they think what they presume is the remains of Brandon Lawson, and they would get tested this summer, in a couple months, July 2023, this summer, they're going to be getting tested, and then in a couple, I think in a matter of a month to weeks, we should know, now, by the time of this video, if, in a couple weeks from now, we should know when, if that is in fact Brandon Lawson. They're going to DNA test him, they're going to examine the body, and they presume this because apparently articles of his clothing were found, near the body, and yeah, like, articles of clothing were found near the body, and I think it was presumed to be in a skeletal state, and yeah, it was picked apart by some animals, but yeah. So, all that said, that is the case. Now, let's get into some of the theories, because as much as they think they might have found, it could not be his body. I mean, it's only presumed. It is not confirmed. So, I mean, I would hope it is, at least, so there's closure for the family, because, Ledessa, his parents, Kyle, they're all heartbroken about this. His kids, I mean, it's so, to lose a father, especially for that newborn, so young, like, but he probably doesn't even remember the father that well, like, that's so sad. But, another plane wants to go in the sky as they continue to talk. So, wait, what happened? Because there is still the mystery, though, even though they might have found the presumed remains, even if it does come back, they still have to figure out what happened to him. Like, what's the theories of what happened, though? How he ended up, like, if he possibly is if that's his body that had possibly ended up dead. So the first theory is that he was on drugs, and that this was all nothing. Because if you remember that trucker spot, like I forgot to say, one thing I forgot to say about that trucker spotting, like the truck on the highway, he noted there were no other cars, no other tire tracks, and the car was just alone on the highway. Like there was nothing going on. So in real time, what Brandon was describing wasn't matching what this trucker, this witness was seeing. So they found that very strange. Very strange. So, what happens after this? Well, and obviously, yeah, they the investigation really only ensued a couple, and it did take county police, just, county really, showing their true colors. It took them only a week just to even start searching for him. So, because you guys know, missing person case, 24 hours is critical. And he was marked as a missing person later in the morning of August 9th. He was presumed a missing person by multiple people, and yeah. So, with that being said, it was very, So, the theory, though, yeah, he was on something. So, they think what could have happened is, and this could tie into multiple things, because this drug, he did take drugs, though. So, he was falling victim to drugs. So, what they think, what the first theory is that he was on drugs, and this ties into the second theory too. But first theory that he's on drugs, and that he was driving, to his father's house, never made it, because and how his father gets clued in on all this is the fact that I think his brother does call him eventually, because remember from because I think this is 12 a.m. I believe 12 a.m. to, I'm trying to think, I think it's 12 a.m., is it? Yes, I think I said around 12, 12 in the morning, he starts, he stops his car, but I think he was, only, 20-ish minutes out, because 20 minutes was, his brother lived close to him. If he left the house, 20 minutes, his brother lived close to him, his brother was 20 minutes out from him, so that means he was 20 minutes away from his own house, if his brother was close to him, and he was 20 minutes out from where Brandon was. So, if Brandon was 20 minutes out from where, from the house, where he left from, to go to his father's, that means, he still had, another 2 hours and 35 or something minutes to go, and, I think after, his father's, where is it? His father was, kind of wondering where he is, and maybe, I think that, and Kyle called him, that's how he got clued in on everything, kind of like my Truth Richardson, where the parents kind of, not, when another family member gets clued in on what's going on, my Truth's mother got clued in, probably great-grandmother, I'm sorry, this was, I think Kyle called, Brandon's father and told him, he called me, gas, he's pulled over, because he's wondering, 2 hours later, where is he? He called me, 2 hours, said he's gonna stay, he hasn't arrived yet. It's been he should have been here by now. So yeah, but the first theory is that he on the road, he was driving and he just pulled the car over because he just wasn't with it, and he just decided he had this weird hallucination that people were after him. He ran into the words, called 911, he just started being frantic and he just started saying mumbo jumbo or something, just to and that's why it's not really understandable over the phone. It's just this weird, he just started saying stuff. But the operator could make out to what he was saying, so that could default that theory. Because if the operator was I'm sorry, what? If she sounded confused, then that would have debunked that. But because she didn't sound confused, it lifts the theory that maybe, possibly, maybe not. And that's the first theory. And that maybe he just wandered off and got, maybe he just got wandered off, and maybe he was, I don't know, maybe he was just... But that just seemed how would he end up dead, though? How do you explain him being dead? So, we don't know. The second theory, maybe he starved... it could be a starvation. Maybe out in the wild, maybe he just, sat there, and maybe he was just, and maybe he could have overdosed. That could be, part of that theory. Maybe, he got, he was on drugs, didn't know what he was doing, and just kept taking them until he died. Overdose. Very possible. The second theory, and this is the most plausible I can see happening, because in Texas, remember, this is also, I forgot to mention, this is a very shady city for crime, San Angelo. So, maybe what happened was Brandon was, he had it, maybe at his job or something, or somewhere, outside of his job, he had, to get his drugs, he had worked with somebody, or had, he was, part of, Like he had a deal with somebody, and maybe that guy, like, there was like a gang or something, and he didn't pay back that deal, and he was on the way, and maybe they tracked him down, and maybe they got into like a fight, a car pulled over, like, what happened, and then like, he starts fighting with them, then they pull out guns, and then they start shooting, and then, like, when they attract attention, they're like, we can't attract attention, you guys drive off, and then maybe some of them just will run off him on foot, and then all the cars drive away, or whoever, like, the gang car drives away, and that can explain why when the trucker passed them, like, nobody was there, it just was his car, and they were just going to get Brandon. Maybe Brandon, fled into the woods because they were chasing him, and that's why maybe on the call we possibly hear gunshots and say, like, protect yourself and get up and all this stuff, and and him saying, I got shot, like, maybe that was because people were actually pursuing him into the woods. That could be a plausible theory, that people, are latching onto. And then, like, there is a third theory. No, well, there is kind of a third theory. And maybe how he died was he just died of, and he said to his brother he was bleeding on the phone. I forgot to mention that, too, like, to his brother, like, the last phone call. That's a plausible theory. The third theory, though, and this is a little far-fetched. Maybe Brandon just was, like, cop-related. Because maybe it's why it took him so long to, like, a week to start searching for him. Maybe, like, they wanted to hold it off as long as they could. Maybe, because, again, he did have, like, he was arrested before. I'm sorry. He was arrested before for, like, drug, for, doing drugs and stuff like that. Just these minor little charges. Well, not really, but, yeah. Just his accounts of him, like, taking drugs and, can get arrested for that. Maybe they, like, pulled him over, or, like, they tracked onto him. Again, he doing drugs, he had a history, and maybe they were gonna arrest him. Maybe he, he was, like, not with it, maybe, and, like, he just, like, no, and he just started running, and they were, like freezing, and maybe it being county, and it being this kind of area, maybe the cops were a little shady. I don't know. I don't want to put that light in cops, so cops are a lot of good cops out there, but in certain areas, unfortunately, there are some not so great ones. So maybe these cops, like, pull out the guns, like, hey, freeze, and he just kept running. Maybe they started shooting at him, or because he said, like, I ran into him, they shot me, but then he said, like, I think something like, I shot one guy, like, I don't, or they shot one guy, like, maybe, like, there's that. Or the fourth theory, and this is even, like, more, like, a major theory, is that both theory 2 and 3 are kind of involved into one, where these guys pursued Brandon, like I said before, they got, on the highway, or whatever, and then, like, they started, like, this whole thing goes on, and then police arrive, and they're like, hey, freeze, and then, like, there's a shooter happen, and then Brandon says, like, they shot one guy, maybe the cops, like, they shot, and he mentioned Stapers, like, state trooper, like, they shot one guy, and, like, but there's guys shooting me, like, but the only thing with that theory is that when the trucker passes, he would have seen cops. But why would they then leave and then come back? Like, that just doesn't make sense. So I think that the second one, where there was guys pursuing him, is a little more, the most plausible, because there's evidence somewhat on the phone call to back it up. But the only thing is, though, where were the cars? Maybe they drove away. That's the most plausible theory. If there were cars in the highway or other people around, then maybe. But yeah, those are the theories with Brandon Lawson. But yeah, his presumed body was found. It's being tested July. We will know exactly how he died. If it is him, and if it's confirmed dead, then this case is half solved, and we just have to solve how he got it. But at least there's closure there, and he's not out there somewhere. And then, but there's still the mystery of how he ended up dead. So yeah, if he is dead, in fact. But yeah, I will update, though. I'll make an update, this summer, if they do find, I don't think I ever made an update. I don't think I plan to, but if there is an update, I might make an update where, yeah, guys, this is the body, so, yeah. We will see. So, that is it for the Brandon Lawson case. Let me know in the comments below what your theories are, and make sure to keep them, the theories, make sure not to, like, harp on them too hard, because, it is seen as a little disrespectful to go, like, start blaming people. Don't blame anyone, just, like, make light theories and just keep them as theories. Don't make them anything bigger than they have to be. But make sure you leave your theories, though, in the comments below. And, like, subscribe for the podcast. There's one every, I'll try to post every so often. And hope you guys enjoy Brandon's sponsor. And go watch, oh my god, I just made a mistake. Brandon Lawson. I keep doing that this video. Yeah, make sure you guys watch Brandon sponsoring. Make sure you guys watch Brandon, Richardson. go watch, and then go watch this one. Watch all the way through to Brandon Lawson here. Hope you guys enjoyed this case. Let me know what you guys want. Go vote on AS&MT, the channel. Go subscribe. Turn on the notification bells. Go vote when a poll releases, especially for this. What case you want to do next. And the next one will probably be the Jameson family. So look out for that one. And that is a paranormal that has paranormal ties, what people have been suggesting. So yeah, that'll probably be the next one. So, like, subscribe, turn on the notification bell again. Thank you guys so much for watching the AS&MT Investigates podcast. Have a very good day. Goodbye, everyone. And again, thank you for watching this deep dive. Goodbye.